Let's get back to our federal workforce fallout coverage. Earlier this month, many agencies brought workers back to work in person to comply with President Trump's executive order, and that brought major traffic problems for people trying to get on base at the Navy Yard. And 2 weeks later, a viewer reached out to us and says traffic is still at a standstill every morning. Marcella Robertson on top of this story live in Navy Yard this morning. Marcella, of course, this is having major impacts on commuters, and we knew going into this that there weren't enough parking spaces for the influx of workers coming back. Nothing seems to have been done to make it better.
Yeah, good morning to you. Yeah, I mean, what we're seeing right now is that traffic that we saw on day one is still exactly what we're seeing here 2 weeks later. And that viewer that reached out to us says that this is usually the peak time. I want to show you what we're looking at right here, leading onto the base right now. Basically, both sides, both directions of 11th Street, especially 11th Street Bridge, completely at a standstill right now. And you know, one person, a federal worker, was trying to head into the base, yelled out, said, "Thank you for being here. This is just the beginning of it. It gets so crazy out here." Again, they say that peak time is really between 4:30 and 7 o'clock. One worker told us by 7 o'clock, no chance even finding a parking spot out here. So again, it really boils down to 17,000 people back to work in person here on the base. Officials estimated around 8 to 10,000 people were going to be fighting for these 4,500, less than 4,500 parking spaces. And again, this is what we're seeing here live. DDOT officials out here directing traffic right now. You know, we talked to Naval Support Activity the day, February 10th, when many of those workers returned back to work here in person, and they said they cannot do anything about the actual capacity, but they've been trying to educate people, right? Figure out an alternative parking situations, public transportation. But again, doesn't really seem like much has changed out here at this point. So we have reached out back to them again this morning to see if there are any plans in place to try to mitigate some of this traffic. But you can see here, this is still a major issue for many of those employees trying to get here on base at the Navy Yard, and traffic this early is typically something that we don't see often. Back to you guys.
Marcella Robertson giving us a closer look at that delay. And you're right, this definitely adds more time to their morning commute. Thanks so much, Marcella.